Welcome back to the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Alex Salido. Here is Brady Hawk. No Ethan Skolnick tonight. Here with you after a 119-108 Heat win over the Pelicans at home. Heat pretty much is taking care of business in this one. They never really ran away with it, against this team that is, just one of the worst in the league, has one of the worst records in the league, has been banged up all year despite some of their talent. But even though they never ran away, it never really felt like that competitive of a game, even though it very much was at hand technically. For the Pelicans, they just never really made any run at it. It felt like a game with not very much defensive resistance on either end. And the Heat ended up having a really prolific offensive game, finishing with like an 86th percentile and 90th percentile offensive rating overall and in the half court. That's something that the Heat do, right? The Heat are never ranking elite on the offensive side of the floor. So for them to do that, that the other team was not playing great defense. But I don't want to take away credit from the Heat because Tyler had a great game. I thought, even though it wasn't an awesome Bam game, he did like a lot of things, right? He almost finished with a triple-double. And in general, I thought you saw a pretty good game from the bench. That's kind of one of the things that stood out to me from this game. You're seeing some more of Ware and Jovic together. I thought tonight you saw Jaquez have a really nice game, scoring wise, made some plays, as a playmaker for others. Like I thought he showed a little bit of everything tonight, finishing at the rim. And I thought, Jaquez, Jovic, and Ware, like those guys, to me, they give you something off the bench. They give you a different dynamic when the three of them are on like that. And so those are kind of the things that stuck out to me. Brady, what stuck out to you from this game, even though it wasn't the best game?
It wasn't the best game, but they haven't had many opportunities like this to play a bad team and just take care of business and do it this way. Like they've had so many chances in these type of games, and it ends up being a clutch game, or they end up like kind of messing around with this type of team. And as you said, even when it got to like 5 points at certain points, it never felt like they were out of control. It felt like they were controlling it. You mentioned it, Tyler with 32. He did not even have the greatest first half. Like he had 1 3 in the first half, and it ended up being a lob to Jimmy Butler that ended up dropping in, and then he had 4 3s in the third quarter. So just a big third quarter from Tyler that really kind of stuck out. It was just a lot of work off the catch, just off screens, pump fakes, stepping into threes, just kind of doing things a little bit easier. Duncan deserves credit for this game. I thought he kind of got back into a rhythm again, kind of got going from three, but specifically he just keeps doing the stuff in the lane. Like once he walks in there and gets a 2-on-1, he's just finishing really well right now. So they're working off that, and I just like the lineups they're leaning into. Like we never really see Jimmy Bam. We always talk about the Jimmy Bam stuff and then working off each other. They're doing this thing now where they're forcing them to kind of play off each other now because Tyler he's the guy for this second unit. He just is. He plays so well next to Nikola Jovic and Keloware Ware specifically. Not even mentioning the other guys. I just really am a big fan of that three-man tandem. Ware and Jovic specifically are working well off each other. Ware had a really good game in this one where he was kind of defending well. I thought a specific thing that Spo said after the game where he talked about the thing that stuck out to him is he's a really good pick and roll defender right now. And that's what was ultimately going to get him minutes. He's doing that. He's playing well on offense. He's just doing a lot of things well. And Jovic is playing free as well. And it's because he's just in a good role. He's in a good spot. So they have to keep leaning into that. They have to keep leaning into these lineups as they go. They're going to have Terry Rozier back tomorrow. This was a little bit of a different look. It wasn't they were just moving the ball really well in general. So now you have a Pacers team coming in who Jimmy is probably going to be a little bit more active against. We were talking about it before. I mean, that's a good matchup for Jimmy. Jimmy can mismatch hunt. Jimmy can do a lot of more things offensively. He didn't have to do much in this game. There was a lot of standing around for him. But he had a lot of time off. And first night of a back-to-back. We'll see what he does tomorrow. But I thought it was a good win. They haven't had many of these, and they need one where they can just take care of business.
100% got to take care of business. That's exactly what they did pretty much without Jimmy. Glad he's back. Glad he's all right. And all that, but yeah, you're 100% right. He was mostly standing around out there. We were talking about how he was just kind of floating around the dunker spot. It didn't even seem like sometimes he was boxing out. Sometimes he wasn't even really like trying to go for the catch or go for the cut. He was just standing there. And man, it's okay for a game like this. It's okay where they don't really need him. That's fine. Just show up tomorrow. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Since it's a back-to-back set, it feels like kind of Jimmy just kind of pacing himself here, knowing that the other guys can do enough to get them through. A game versus the Pelicans. And that's exactly what happened. Like you mentioned, Duncan had a great game. Bam did his stuff. Tyler had an awesome game. The only guys that you didn't really feel anything from offensively were like Haywood and Jimmy, right? Alec Burks, like whatever. I guess you could throw him in there. But in general, like you got a lot from the other guys, and it was more than enough. Like you finished with a great, like I mentioned, offensive rating before. And outside of that, yeah, it's nice to see Ware continue to do the things that he was billed as, right? Just lengthy, shot blocker, athletic, almost finished the lob, a standing lob, like almost outside the paint at one point that was missed. So it's cool to have an athletic force like that around, and hopefully they can get another dub tomorrow, because after that it's taking care of business versus the Utah Jazz on Saturday. Make sure to check out already, if you haven't, the Five on the Floor episode from tonight. Leif, Adele, and I believe Eternal went live after the game, so go check that out. And of course, go check out our Off the Floor Discord server. The link is going to be in the description to this video. And thanks again for watching. Have a good night and Happy New Year.